Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. I hope you're having a great day. I'm having a good day. Today we're taking a look at the Viper Handy 2, a very cool EDC fixed blade that was sent to the channel by my good buddy Zach. Everyone, say thank you to Zach if you see him in the comments below. Let's not waste any time and let's get this review started. Blade length, sharpened edge, we're looking at about 3 1/4 inches. Overall blade length is about just a hair over 3.5 inches. Great size for an EDC fixed blade, in my opinion. I love this 3 1/4, 3.5 inch blade size range. I have no idea where that sentence was going, so I should probably just end it. All right, size comparisons. There's the Rat 2, and there's the Rat 1. Yeah, a very broad knife, but not a huge knife. What are the comparisons? Do we want to do? I guess we'll do. There it is against the Benchmade Bug Out. Here it is against the Spyderco PM2. Cool. And then let's compare against a couple of other fixed blades. Compare against some fixed blades that were sent in by Zach as well. Here we have the half-face blades Extremis that was reviewed a couple weeks ago by the time you're seeing this. And where's the other knife I want to compare it to? I just had it here. I pulled it out specifically for this and promptly forgot where I put it. Because I'm a dum-dum. Where the flippity flap did I put that damn thing? Okay, we're back. Asher Knives Fixie. I put it on top of my little shelf here, and you guys don't want to hear how long it took me to realize that's what I done. Anyways, there we go. There are our comparisons. Let's go ahead and take these guys away. What are we looking at for the materials? Well, we have a Harpoon Sheep's Foot M390 blade with a flat grind, a Kydex sheath, and the handle on here is a G10 and rubber composite. I can't remember what it's called, sheer grip or something like that. I'll write it on the screen, but yeah, let's go cut some stuff. You guys know what time it is? That's right, it's review cutting time. So let's do some review cutting, and the knife we're talking about, because we're already this far into the video, is the Viper Handy 2. Very, very cool knife. Let's jump right into this review. Don't have to talk about the action, or not jump into this review, jump into this segment of the review. Whatever, you guys know what I meant. You know what I meant. Maybe. Okay, so ergonomics. The knife has a very interesting looking handle. We've got a lot of peaks and valleys, but in hand, it actually works really, really nicely. I wouldn't say this is like the most hand melting, like beautiful ergonomic masterpiece ever, but it makes sense in the hand. We are also contoured. Well, I'm not sure if contour is the right word. We've got a really nice palm swell here, so it fills out your hand nicely. The scales themselves are this kind of rubber G10 mix, which is very, very grippy. You are not going to lose your grip on this knife, I don't think. My one complaint with the ergos is actually this edge termination here. I have cut myself on that a couple of times while using this knife. Nothing serious. It's not like it was bad cuts or anything, but I think that's definitely something that you should probably think about when you're designing the ergonomics of a knife. Okay, let's talk about the carry. We have a Kydex sheath. I've already got it on my belt. This is how I've been carrying the knife. Is right there. Scout style. Let's go ahead and take it off. It's got these little snap buttons, which is kind of convenient. A little bit of rattle, but the retention on the knife is good. It's not going to come out of there. Now, as for the design of these loops, I appreciate it because this knife is 100% ambidextrous. You know, you just pick which side you want to thread your belt through, which is cool. I do think the sheath has a few more degrees of movement or degrees of freedom than I would prefer, but it's not the worst thing ever. Again, this kind of a loose feeling knife It jiggles around the sheath a little bit, jiggles around your belt. Not that it's insecure, but it kind of feels that way. There are, you can rig up different carry methods for this if you really want to. One thing I do appreciate about the Sheath is that they give you a push-off point for your thumb. I'm always a big fan of that. Yeah, the Sheath is, in my opinion, it kind of just is what it is. I wouldn't say it's good or bad. So, there we go. All right, let's go ahead and do some cutting. So, we have a harpoon sheep's foot blade here. Actually kind of reminds me of the Artisan Cutlery Ahab. M390 steel, flat grind. Let's go ahead and cut some stuff. Now, the edge, this is not a super thin edge on this knife, but, oh my goodness, that wind. Just a second. As I was saying, not the sliciest geometry, but this is more of a kind of general purpose working knife. And so it does slice well, or well enough. It cuts well enough, I'll say that. You can get to the tip very, very easily. Kind of a terrible cut, but there you go. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do our rope pull. Get it over here. Whoops. That was my bad. And let's do some crunches. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this knife is definitely a little more on the robust side for the geometry. Did pretty well on the rope. Kind of more of a sturdy edge than a slicey edge. Let's get our pull noodle out here, see how well the geometry's been done. There we go. There's 1. 2. And 3. Little bit of tearing. I don't think it's because the knife is dull. No, the knife's not dull. I do have some gunk on the edge I might have caught on there, but it did feel a little bit, a little bit uneven going through there. A little bit clunky, a little bit grindy. I could feel the foam binding up. We were smushing it before we cut it a couple of times. So, yeah, I would not say that this is necessarily the sliciest knife out there. But as far as a kind of general purpose, smaller size working the EDC fixed blade goes, it'll cut. This is definitely more of a cutter than a slicer. But, sometimes that's what someone's looking for. All right. Let's go ahead and get back to the table. There we go. Alrighty, guys. We are back. Let's go ahead and get into what I'm liking and not liking about this knife, starting, of course, with what I like. Feels like it's been a long time since I sat down and filmed a review, and it has. It has been a long time. I really enjoyed carrying this knife. In fact, I got a lot of use out of it. I was able to carry and use this knife extensively for a bunch of different things for a very, very long period of time. And I had a lot of fun carrying this knife. There's a lot I like about it. Some things that I'm not a big fan of, but let's go ahead and jump right in. This is a very interesting looking knife. In the world of EDC fixed blades, a lot of knives look very similar. This one definitely stands out. I like the aesthetics of this knife quite a bit. It's things a little bit harder to create a completely unique aesthetic when you're talking about fixed blades, but this knife does it, which I really, really appreciate. Next thing, this knife has some nice details. The crown spine is very, very cool. The jimping is done really, really well. So this stuff here is very grimpy. It's gimpy. It's very grippy. It's put in a good spot. And you can see that we've also got jimping down here, which I really appreciate. And a little bit back here, which I don't appreciate as much, but, it's a good spot to put the jimping. Little details like that are really, really nice. I enjoy seeing that. The handle here, let's talk about the ergonomics. Very, very nice. You can see here we've got a good palm swell. the ergos look a little bit goofy. They almost look like they'd be uncomfortable and force your hand to a specific grip, and they kind of do, but they're very comfortable. I think these ergos work out really, really nicely. This right here is a genius idea. Having this sloping this way means that no matter what size your hands are, you're going to be able to get a pretty good and secure grip on this knife. If you've got hands bigger than mine, which a lot of people do, you know, you're going to be like this. You know, it might be a 3-finger knife or something, but you're definitely going to have enough room back there. So I really appreciate the ergonomics. The jimping up here is good. You know, it helps keep your finger where it should be. The jimping up here is nice. You get a good pinch point between the two there. I like this little swedge. You can reach up there with your finger, get to your utility cuts. Yeah, the ergonomics of this knife were thought out really, really nicely. I wouldn't say that they're the best ergos ever. Like this knife isn't the most comfortable knife I've ever held, but it's very good and it's solid. It's very solid. I feel like I've got a good grip on it. I don't know how to explain this. It's not like these are the kind of ergos where it's like comfortable. These are kind of ergos where it's secure. And for a work knife like this, I honestly think that's a good kind of ergonomic to go for. Kind of ergonomic to go for. I'm not sure if that's a word. Anyways, the stonewash on the blade here is nice. I need to clean up this blade, but it does hide wear and damage and stuff. So I really, really like that a lot. Let's talk about this blade. Great blade shape for utility cuts and just kind of general work. I was using this knife a lot around my house. I was using it a lot when I was working on my truck. I've been working on my truck for a long, long time. Still working on it. Was working on a bunch of other people's cars too. Some of this tape residue is actually probably from scraping duct tape off of a car. Great blade shape, fantastic utility cuts. You're broad enough to be really, really powerful in a slice. You've got a little bit of belly here so you can crunch down on, let's see, you know, you can go down on a cutting board fairly easily. So very nice blade shape. I like it a whole lot. The M390 is fine. I think this is a little bit on the softer side. And the reason I say that is because, let's see if you can still see this. Yeah, up here a little bit, you can maybe see it. I had a little bit of edge damage. I have actually hit this knife on a ceramic rod to kind of get rid of that. You can still see it a little bit, but it was more like a roll than a chip, which on M390, I normally expect more of a chip if it's hardened properly. I don't really think that's a bad thing on this knife because I kind of want this to be I don't think M390 is the best hard use steel. It's not the best heavy duty working knife steel. And so having it a little bit softer, why would you use M390? Why not just use another steel? I get that. But, you know, you get the stainlessness, and this knife has done really, really well with the stainlessness. And it held an edge well enough, and it was tough enough. I mean, I was kind of some zip ties and stuff with this, and it seemed to do all right. Something else I should talk about with the handle is this material. I do enjoy this material. It is very grippy. It's unique. It's good on a knife like this. It's good for a knife like this where, you know, you want to make sure you've got a good grip on your blade at all times. So there's a lot of the good. I think the design itself is really nice. I think this is a fantastic work knife. I think the whole package just works really good as a day-to-day beater. Let's go ahead and talk about some of my negatives. The badging is a little bit obnoxious. I don't really mind the badging that much on most knives, but it's a little bit obnoxious here. The sheath. I'm not a huge fan of the sheath. I'm fine with this kind of attachment style, but I don't know, the knife just kind of flopped around really weird. It's very back heavy. The knife itself is very butt heavy, so the knife would like hang like this a little bit. Just not a whole lot of structure here. This is a completely ambidextrous system, so you can actually put that in the pluses. I do like that you have a push-off point here, but the knife itself just doesn't snap into the Kydex as crisply as I would want it to. You can see here we've got a little bit of wobble and stuff in there. Just the fitment on the sheath isn't the greatest. It's not bad. I wouldn't necessarily say this is a negative because as I was carrying this knife, it worked. The knife never fell out. The retention is fine, I guess, but it is it is rather clicky and clacky, and I don't know. I just was a little bit put off by the sheath. Um, but I don't know. You can put that in the negatives. A bigger negative for me was actually this area right here. I cut myself on this knife like 3 or 4 times because on one occasion, even though you have this jimping here to keep you from getting up on the edge, on one occasion when I was cutting something, I just like my skin just kind of folded over and bam, I got cut. And so I would recommend like maybe knocking this off, maybe even taking a Dremel and just making a little whoop right there. I mean, you can see the plunge grind here goes to there. So you can actually take off that much of the blade and actually have a good sharpening choil. Also, a couple times when I was pulling it out of the sheath, I'd be pulling it out and I'm not completely locked into my grip, and that would just nick me. And it wasn't like it was bad cuts, but it was just really annoying little cuts right here. In fact, there's the mark from the last one. Yeah, like not bad cuts, but just annoying cuts. And your tool shouldn't be drawing blood when you're just trying to use it, right? So I wasn't a huge fan of that. The M390 being a little bit soft, like I don't know if it is, you know, it felt a little bit soft compared to other M390 that I've used. Still a usable steel. Like I didn't really have any complaints with it, but just why would you go with the M390 if you're not going to do it like, you know, super hard? I think a budget version of this knife in 14C 28N would be amazing. I think that would be fantastic, and I kind of hope they do that one of these days. All right, let's go ahead and move on to my final conclusions. I know this review is going to be a little bit on the shorter side for the channel. You guys are welcome. I like this knife a lot. There's a lot I love about this knife. I carried this knife probably more than any other knife that Zach has sent me. I just got a ton of use out of this knife. I enjoyed using it despite the little cuts and stuff. It's a very, very good design with just a couple of tweaks that need to be made. This needs to be fixed. You know, the sharpening control area, this little corner right here, that needs to be fixed. The sheath could be better, you know, need some redesigns in the sheath. And I think this would be an absolutely phenomenal knife. Now, this is not the most affordable budget knife. I mean, what do these go for? Let me look that up real quick. I should have had that written down. Okay, yeah, I'm glad I looked up the price because it was not what I thought it was. I thought this was like 150-ish. I was thinking about the other Handy, not the Handy 2, the drop point version. Those ones go for like 165. This version right here is about $230 with the M390 and the Sure Touch. I gotta say, at $230, we have a lot harder time recommending this. I love this knife, but do I think you get $230 out of it? At that price, I would expect a much better sheath. $230. Jeez, if this was $150, I would have given the, you know, if it's your style, go ahead and get it. If it's not your style, you're safe to pass. But at $230, I would say get the get the drop point blade. The drop point blade is actually in Magna Cut, which makes more sense for a knife like this, in my opinion. And you can get a wide variety of handle scales, and those are like 160 to 180. That's a much, much better value. If you just have to have the sheep swept blade, which honestly, I think the sheep swept blade is probably a little bit better for general EDC. It looks like you are going to have to fork over a little bit more money. Geez. Do I recommend this knife? It's a high quality knife. It's a very high quality knife. I really, really loved carrying this knife. This is a great knife. But I'm not sure if it's $230. If this knife was like $130, I would be recommending it 100%. At $150, I would say, yeah, I recommend this knife if you're into it. At $230, this is where it gets hard for me being a reviewer, especially since I don't look up the prices of these things until like right before I do the review. I like this knife. This is a good knife. But at $230, I think you should get a better sheath. Honestly, I expect a little bit better performance out of the M390. Burger. Hmm. What do I say about you? I guess I'm going to have to say this. I like this knife. I like this knife a lot. And if you like this knife, go ahead and check out the options that are available. I think there's also a sheath split blade version that's like $210. Take a look at what's available. Maybe you'll like the drop point better. If you can get one of these secondary for a little bit cheaper, I would go for that. But at the brand new price of $230, I'm going to say you could probably get an EDC fixed blade of similar quality and performance for a little bit less than that. So yeah, that's kind of disappointing, man. I was ready to recommend this knife 100%, but yeah, the price is just feels a little bit high to me. Just feels a little bit high. So that's what this is gonna get a up to viewer discretion. I don't think because of the price, I can't give it a 100% Gideon stuff recommendation, but I really do like this knife. I think this is a fantastic EDC knife. And you know what? If you want to get one for cheap, I'll probably be giving this away when I hit 5,000 subs. So keep that in mind if you like this knife. But yeah, there we go. Holy cow, guys. Yeah, cool knife. A little bit overpriced. Let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment below, and subscribe. Big shout out to my channel members at the cowboy level. I really appreciate everything they do. If you want to become a channel member and support the channel directly, there's a link down below. Go ahead and feel free to join up. And that's going to be it for me today, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.